Welcome to BBC London. I'm Victoria Hollins. There are calls for greater security at a multi-faith cemetery in Watford after the graves of Muslim children were vandalised. Brent Council manages the cemetery and says it's working closely with the police to bring those responsible to justice. Nikki Ford reports.
When Asim was sent this video of graves that had been damaged in a Muslim part of the cemetery where his own mum and dad were buried, he rushed down to see for himself what had happened.
I was utterly sickened by the fact that this has happened. I came to this area and I'm looking all around and plaques were broken, as you can see, scattered all around.
What's more, it was the graves of babies and children that had been targeted.
So whoever done this had time to really look and see what they were targeting. That in itself for me was just a tipping point.
Well, Herts police are investigating, and as their inquiries have progressed, they've concluded it was an Islamophobic hate crime. The Friends of Carpenters Park Cemetery are now calling for better security at the site.
I've gone and looked myself and we've seen 4 different access points to the cemetery where we believe that some sort of camera, CCTV, should be put up.
For the families whose graves were damaged, there is upset that they've not been tidied nearly 2 weeks after it happened. Brent Council told us they were waiting for the police to allow them access to the site, which they've now got. In a statement, Brent's council leader said, Hertfordshire Constabulary is preparing a report with recommendations to improve security at the site. The area has now been cleaned and we've identified all the plaques that need replacing. We're currently reaching out to families to arrange replacements or permanent memorials.
We just don't want to go through this. We don't want families to go through this, regardless if it's a Muslim part, a Christian part, a Jewish part. We should just let them rest in peace.
Nikki Ford, BBC London.
Thousands of people will be filling the pavements to cheer on those taking part in this year's London Marathon tomorrow. TfL's warning trains across central London will be very busy. Cutty Sark DLR station in Greenwich will be entrance only, and roads across Deptford, Rotherhithe, Greenwich and the Isle of Dogs will be closed. Meanwhile, ahead of tomorrow's London Marathon, children have been running and walking as part of the mini marathon at St James's Park this morning. Wendy Hurrell went along.
18,000 finishers on the Mall today, aged from 4 years old to teenagers who've run a mile or a little longer. Triumphant for all. And then Dylan, who's 9 and has cerebral palsy, crossed the finish line.
I loved it. It was the best. You should come here. It's the best thing to do.
Was it hard at any point?
Well, yeah. Well, when I done it, I felt energetic, and I done it so well that I was walking without this. And it was the best thing.
I heard you did some press-ups halfway round as well.
Oh yeah, 10 press-ups. I was gonna do knuckle ones or fingers, but I just choose to do normal ones.
3 years ago he couldn't actually stand, so he couldn't weight bear. So he's literally learnt to stand up. Now he's walking and he's also running, and he does
Cubs, gymnastics and swimming.
Dylan, you are the biggest inspiration to anyone, anywhere. Well done, you.
And I'm a black belt in Kung Fu.
And there will be many more joyful moments tomorrow from London's 2025 marathon.
Well done, man. We finished this. Well done.
We've done it.
Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Good luck to everyone running tomorrow. OK.
Hello again. The main stories in London now. The Metropolitan Police have bolstered operations this weekend to cope with millions of visitors expected to descend on the capital for sporting fixtures, ceremonial events and protests. The force has urged the public to stay alert and says there'll be a visible presence of officers at key venues to cope with a busy schedule of events, which includes St George's Day gatherings and tomorrow's London Marathon. Well, also among those events was a demonstration by Just Stop Oil in Parliament Square this afternoon in what they say will be their final protest. Hundreds of climate activists from the group, clad in its signature orange high-vis, marched through central London. The group has drawn attention, criticism and jail terms with its controversial tactics since it began protesting in 2022. They now say their campaign has achieved its aim.
Today we're not protesting, we are celebrating really. We're celebrating what we've achieved in a short time, what a relatively few people have achieved in a short time. And the main thing there is our campaign was to demand an end to new oil and gas licences, and that is now government policy.
Well, next, in this year's London Marathon runners may be making their final preparations for tomorrow's event, but some have already crossed the finish line. Around 18,000 children and young people pounded the pavements today around a 2.6-kilometre route and were even joined by some famous faces. Jay Akbar went along.
The London Mini Marathon is a sort of warm-up for the big one. Thousands of kids ran, walked and wheeled around St James's Park today. Some even dragged their parents around.
Well, we do it every year, so we thought just something to do. It's for a good cause, isn't it? So, and they get to represent their school. So it's just a family getting together, doing the run, and then they see all their friends and stuff like that.
Good exercise.
I want to see how fast you can move your feet, OK?
Who better to get them hyped for the race than the body coach himself?
I'm obviously getting the kids here just warmed up every time the wave goes out for the run, and they're just like so excited to be here and to see their faces off when you give them the medal, the sense of pride and achievement. So exercise, it changed my life, and it's doing the same for these kids hopefully too.
It changed Hannah Cockcroft's life. It was her first ever road race 16 years ago. Now she's a 9-time Paralympic gold medalist.
I really hope that this is the start of so many kids' careers. You know, I think it really gives you a taste of being on, you know, that same start line, knowing that your heroes, your idols have lined up there. You know, I remember seeing David Weir on my first London Mini Marathon. He was winning the marathon, and it just showed me where I could get to if I worked hard.
It's also a chance to get kids outside. The official race charity says it's something they're not doing enough of.
So the mental and emotional well-being too, and when we've been talking to kids who do get outside every day, and to their teachers, there's also what they find about how when they're in the classroom later, they're much more composed, they're more ready to learn, they're more chilled, they're more relaxed.
It may be the big one tomorrow, but today's proof great things do come in small packages. Jay Akbar, ITV News.